saying that that's extremely important. It's the text. Good? We good? Okay. What we were doing yesterday and the day before on the paramitas, especially yesterday, was like a workshop. In a normal environment, a workshop would be like this. This was my first idea. It didn't work, but this was my first idea. Maybe it's useful if you want to do that on your own or in another group. Is to take the pattern, right? And the pattern in the PowerPoint presentation was with lines and columns, and separate the group into 7 paramitas. And each 7 groups, right? And every group will study one paramita and will come out with the way to it, the cruel, crafty powers, right? How to apply the virtue, how to unlock the door, how to work within, and then share that with the group. I didn't do that, didn't have enough time, but that was my initial thought when Aaron asked me for a workshop. And that would have been really cool, right? So this is an IOU. You know what IOU in America is? I owe you that. Plan to pay it in 7 lifetimes. So someday we'll pay you back, right? But I'm sharing with you what I really wanted to do, right? This is a good thing. The problem of that, the voice of the silence tells us this is a work to be done alone. You are alone on the path. Remember, the path is one, the master points the way, and you are alone. And the means depends on each of us. The means that we apply the paramitas varies. Why? Because the cruel, crafty powers are the product of our own passions incarnate. Excuse me. Therefore, when you share in a group, you're really not sharing yourself. It's a group consensus. Yeah, right? And this is an internal work, but yet there is something important there. You see it? I hope so. Excuse me. So remember, on the paramitas we're studying what I just said. The voice of the silent tells us that we need to master a virtue, which is the golden key that opens the portal. And there is a path to it, which a lot of pitfalls. You know what a pitfall is? Where you fall in a pit. It's a bad thing. It's a real bad thing. And you know that because I asked you to look at yourself in the mirror and see all the pitfalls. And it's right there. So we all have done that many times, and we're still going to do many pitfalls in our life. So the voice of the silence tells, before you do that, learn the pitfalls. And this is what it's teaching us, right? The pitfalls. To recognize the path. Then as we do that, these cruel, crafty powers, which we call shadows in Jung, or we call them demons in Hollywood movies or something like that, they are going to show up. Why? They were always with us. We invented them. We created them. They are our own personality, right? And they're going to say, no, you're not going to apply that virtue. No, that's not possible. Why? Virtue is something heavenly, right? The crafty powers are something of earth, my personality. And the personality says, we're not going to do that, because then I don't have power. So they take the shape of something you cannot recognize, which is you. You don't recognize you because this is you. How are you going to recognize yourself? Right? You can't. And in the voice of the silence, the magic is going to use a vocabulary that will allow us to recognize ourselves. Recognize what? Our personality at work, disguised as a crafty power, and it's going to go from really nice demon to a monster. at the end that is going to suffocate you, suffocate. That's the picture of the voice, right? You climb and it's getting closer and closer, and the higher you climb, the walls are getting closer till it clamps on you, and you say, I should be going on the open path. What am I doing here, right? And that is when a person who has the talents and the requirements to become a bodhisattva decides that he is not qualified. This is a sad moment. We lost one, right? Because what the bodhisattva does is to take by the hand to alleviate suffering and pain of the road so they can go in an exoteric path, sacrifice the non-eternal to the eternal, they get to illumination, liberation. That's the open path. What is very difficult is being in the path, one of us, and in one moment to give up. This is the difference. You follow what I'm saying? This is the rhinos. These are the rhinos. These are the ones who give up the sublime treasure of helping humanity for saying, this is it. The ones who continue all the way, the bodhisattvas, they come back to the road and take these people to the open path and guide them out of suffering, out of pain, the bulk of humanity, and help them. That's why we have incredible, beautiful religions out there that give you an open path, easy, mechanical, so to speak. You have to help them in freeing their pain and suffering, physical, psychological, spiritual, so to speak, right? And then they go on the open path. The voice is very clear. The great majority are in the open path. But the ones who are talented, who has the means to have the eyes open, they choose the secret path. And yet they can fail. There is a moment that you have to make your decision. But if you're so suffocated and so on, you may choose not. And that's of merit too, right? If you choose to come back, you will feel that suffocation all your life, which is really cool. But now you do it with a purpose, with a mission. It's the path of woe. So it's important to continue with this discovery of ourselves. This discovery of ourselves is exactly what Blavatsky says, remember in the beginning, in the preface, that therefore it has been thought better to make a judicious selection of the fragments, right, of those 93 pieces, which will best suit the few real mystics in the Theosophical Society, and which are sure to answer their needs. You follow what I said? Sure to answer their needs. One thing I ask you is to pay attention while you study the voice of the silence to see if it's answering your deepest need. If you're one of those few mystics, this is what the book was for, right? Are you one of them? Is it really fulfilling what you need? And that's the purpose of this seminar, to point those things. So the work on the 7 paramitas, even though we can do them in group because we can learn more from each other, the theory and the philosophy of the virtues, yet the passions incarnate, unless it's a person already with higher cities that can see your past, present, and future, that can see your karma, your passions incarnate, that can see your demons and your shadows. He's going to only share theirs. He's not going to see any of yours. He's going to just tell you what I feel, what I do, my pitfalls. And that's why you got to do it alone. That work. But yet, sharing is good because there is a philosophy behind, and there is a little catharsis when you share, right, the pitfalls on the way to the portal. You have any thoughts? Anybody? Maybe you're still trying to swallow what I said. What was that? Okay, yes, please.
As I feel it now is the most sacred.
Is there a microphone? Thank you. So sorry about that. Sorry, yes, one second.
It's almost a paradox for me that if you are, if I'm not, but if somewhere in many lives, if you are on the bodhisattva path, then there can come a moment that the need you see is that wasn't what it has to be. So then for me is the most sacred sacrifice you can give is to choose for the open path. So I don't understand it, but I mean that is very profound, and we are not long there, but that might be a possibility, and that is a sacred sacrifice in another way. That's a paradox for me. I don't know if it's true, but that's what I feel.
It is true what you feel because you're feeling it. So it's you. And eventually it's going to get clearer and clearer and clearer as you walk on the path. Right?
But
the
you don't know if you walk on the path. So.
We are all on the path.
Okay.
Let's say on the words of the voice of the silence, we are all on the road. Right? When we commit ourselves on the path, when we realize the secret path of renunciation, right? Then we come back to help people on the road. This is very mechanical, make it very like a little story. Better vision maybe for you is, there is a path, road path, and it's one, and we all in it, right? At the very end you have a choice. If you have a choice, and it seems to me, in my own opinion, that if you haven't been working on this, you have no choice, you go on the open path. But if you're working on it, you belong to a school of wisdom. You under prajna, right? You see more, you desire more for the benefit of humanity. Then you have a choice. This is my opinion. But road, path to path, it's a good story, right? To divide, to quantify the process. But it's really one road. Now, some people believe that they are not in a path. That's fine, because they are regardless. It means we're human beings. Isn't that true? We're here together, right? And they feel they're pathless, that's fine. They're going to reincarnate anyways. The earth still moves, the sun still moves, It doesn't matter. Someday they will open up. So what we need to alleviate suffering and pain of our fellow, even those people, right? Because they cause pain and suffering to themselves and to others. Or they decided to avoid all that with drugs and depression, and we're so stuck. So again, you see what I'm saying? So it's really one road, one path, and it says that, right? But for those, and that's what I believe, for those who are open, their eyes see more, there is a secret path available. When it becomes to you available, well, that is a mystery. It says at the very end, it becomes available. But I think we need to prepare to it. And there are some lines I want to read that it says how you know it's available for you. So thank you. It's a good point, isn't it? Anybody else? Yes.
I've got a question about number 240, about the final war between the higher and the lower self. Can you see that as the destruction of the antakarana? And how come that on the fourth path the antakarana returns?
The what? The antakarana what?
Returns.
Comes back.
it comes back, and when it's destroyed on the third path.
Okay, so you're taking destroy too literal, right? The fact that you have a higher self and a lower self means that antakarana can be built anytime. That is the problem. You don't destroy anything. You don't destroy something. It's an illusion. It's an illusionary bridge. You're not destroying an illusionary bridge, so to speak. It's a vocabulary that is very Atlantean. Remember, kill, destroy, suffocate, step on it, under my thumb, And that's a vocabulary that it may not be enough for us. We have to see the idea of it. If there is a lower self, and I'm sorry, yes, if there is a karma principle and a manas principle, there is always the possibility of creating. And that is the danger that the voice says, right? That things can come back because we build the bridge. And what is that bridge? Information from the lower that a new passion incarnate is being created. A new crafty power is coming out from below and says, hey, Martin, don't forget there is chocolate. Don't forget that. It's okay tonight to get a little piece. And I said, look, I'm totally detached. May I have that piece, please? so you see, then the illusionary bridge starts forming, and the beautiful news about that for the lower self is when you have that bridge, they all come back. Right? You have a bridge. And all the devils go up. And it's a beautiful story, very mystical, right? And the fight start all over. So again, don't take it that word that you really destroy it in the sense of totality forever, right? Because it comes back. It comes back anytime that you are not exercising your body powers, right? And that's part of the teachings. Is that what you said? Is that what you have more or less? This is my opinion, yes. And the final battle, well, it's the final battle on that gate. You cannot move on without that. The thing is that the final battle between the higher and the lower, which is the Mahabharata, right? And we need a teacher, Krishna, to teach us how to conquer that battle, which is no goals, but Dharma. We do it because it's our Dharma. Isn't that true? Not for the fruit of the action, but it's because it's our duty to do it. We found duty. And that's a hard word. So yes, when you study the Bhagavad Gita, it's good to study it from our own eyes, not from the eyes of Krishna. It's perfect. So study the questions of Arjuna and follow his questions. And when he understands, you should understand. If not, go back to the text. If he doesn't understand, we don't understand, go back to the text. Always ask the questions of Arjuna or Arjuna. You know what I'm saying, right? That fellow that fell in the cart and stood up later. Okay, Arjuna. So this is the thing. We are disciples of our own higher self. We need that light. And it's easy to fall if we lose sight of our Dharma. And what's our Dharma? The secret path to become a Bodhisattva. The ultimate. That's our keynote. And it's very beautiful keynote. So going back to that, let's start with the, just a little before your question, on 236 of Shanti, patience. And for Shanti, for patience, and this is where, in my own opinion, this is my opinion, most of us fail terribly. Shanti, patience. And he says here that in 237, close not thine eyes, nor lose thy sight of Dorje, the diamond, right? Power. Mara's arrows ever smite the man who has not reached Viraga, which is the next one. Look how now incorporates the next virtue in the previous virtue. Remember we were saying like they come like together, right? One empowers the other, so they are not really separated like that. They all need each other, so to speak, in this level. So we need to make sure that when we work in patience, we understand viraga, the indifference to pain and pleasure and so on. But it says then, beware of trembling, beware of fear and trembling. And this is something that is going to cause all this trouble. Like if you fear, and that's interesting that fear and patience go together, isn't that true? And trembling. That caused a lot of problem in me a long time ago, to see the relationship. And when we fear something, the demon disguises itself as impossible to do. I can't do that. And then impatience shows up, right? And with impatience, I tremble and I freeze. And then I cannot face reality. And it's an incredible cause and effect. But the demon is there. So the demon is the cruel, crafty power protecting the third gate, the third gate. That's the one we need to work. You may learn what Shanti is, patience. You can learn what Viraga is, indifference to pain and pleasure. But what was the root cause that causes you to have fear when you are facing that moment? And everybody has a different moment, a different situation. For instance, very easy, this is one of the problems of most people, is that they, by copying their path, this is in Plato, imitation, by imitating what happened to the relationship between father and mother to them, they mimic that. And if they were if they taught them and very strongly to always go like this, to not to face your own needs and always say yes, and you develop the fear to face authority, father figure, mother figure, teacher figure. That is shaping in a form of an incredible crafty power, a passion incarnate to emulate your father, your mother, your priest, your whatever it is that gave you that first moment. And in the moment you need to talk to a person, to a boss, on an authority, or someone else, you freeze, you tremble, and you don't know where it came from. You see the problem? And the only thing you're doing is you're imitating a demon inside you that took shape when you were 4 years old, 3 years old, 6 years old, and it was perpetuated for 15 years, 18 years. How do you fix that root cause? You can know everything what is said about patience. Is it working if you don't know why you tremble? Why you shake in front of authority and you can even talk? Yeah, you freeze, and when you freeze you so stuck, right? It says here. But that's just how you show up, the cause. The effect of the demon. You got to see yourself when needing to apply a virtue, the demon says no. And it disguises itself in the form of your friend, of your teacher, of your parent, and read book 1 of the Bhagavad Gita. Right? And Arjuna says, I cannot fight them. Right? You remember that? It's a good book, you know? It's our own life, but see it from the eyes of Arjuna, not from the eyes of Krishna. It's perfect. But you're trembling. Krishna is not trembling. You're shaken with a demon. Now, like that example, there are how many examples in various cases that freezes us? Billions, because there are billions of people. Can you write a book about all the demons that are available in the human being? No. No. But you have to discover them. And you have to do your own therapy. When the time comes to apply a virtue and you fail, take note of it. And go to the root cause. It's easy to say, okay, yes. It happens to me once. A person came to me and said, I can't talk to my boss. I want a raise. And I said, well, you need more courage. Yeah. I said, well, let's go. Practice with me. So, okay. So she practiced with me. She went to see the boss. And she came back and cried and said, what happened? You didn't do it? Oh, no, I did. I said, I need a raise. And what did he say? He said, why? Why? You ask me. Why? You see, she didn't work on the root cause. That was a fake courage, right? So we have to start from square one. The bad news is I retired. We didn't work on. I'm not a psychologist, you know. I don't know what was the first time that causes her to develop that impossibility to think in front of an authority. But we all go through that. Not in that case, but I'm saying we all have this. We freeze at times. And we need to figure out how. And if you ask people, they may not relate to that. If you ask a Jungian psychologist, a psychotherapist, maybe they can help you if they're really crafty and good. But you have to find out for yourself, analyzing your life, right? And seeing when first happened. And that way you know why you're trembling, you know the cause of fear, you can work on that by realizing. Did I see a hand? Yeah, please.
Is there not one cause for all the things? One root cause? Do we have to figure out everything, or can we go to the real root cause of all our problems?
Right. And the teaching says the root of all is avidya. Right? Ignorance. The root of all. Ignorance. Avidya. That's the root of all. And that will help a lot, right? Talk to your boss, you're ignorant. But it's really true. It's really true. The root is of all. The thing is we're not there yet. We're very humans on the road. And that's my position. People don't know how to work with the root of all, right? And for instance, in the Tibetan Wheel of Life, they have three poisons. Remember, we went over that? And they're good, but what do you do when they manifest? Do you have a follow-up comment, please, to help us?
For my feeling, it starts in the thought process.
In the what? Thought
process.
Yes.
I have the feeling that when there is separation in me, that is the little me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when I can watch that without judgment, just watch it, then.
So you can watch it and see.
And be aware of what is going on.
Correct.
Inside.
Correct.
And then immediately
It
can stop.
Immediate, yes.
Not by me, but just by seeing.
By the awareness, by seeing it. Right. And how long you been studying theosophy?
How long?
Yeah. Like 5 years? 3 years?
Not really theosophy, but
or
from
life.
my childhood, I think.
Okay, that helps, don't you think so? Now, when we help people on the road, you know, the only thing they're working on is all their fears, all their complexes. It's a mess of psychological world, right? Not of a person that already has studied and pondered on the theosophical teachings, Buddhist teachings, Christian teachings. They are very good. But most people outside, it's just a mess. It's a mess of demons you know, and good things and bad things. So I'm with you. I think that this is for you. When the voice, but I notice that people outside, they cannot relate to that way of thinking. This is I have really tried to help people with addiction, friends of mine, to see the root, only for them become more depressed. Because they can't, they don't have the virtue, the energy. They don't want to see the cause of, they don't want to. So what do? Some of them commit suicide. So it's a horrible thing outside.
If it is a horrible thing, then we cannot solve it. But when we have pity with people, we have pity with people we see suffering. So then the only solution you can show is be aware, look, watch, and do not go into this mess.
No, but we're not talking about us. I'm not going into that mess. I have people coming to me with a mess.
Of course, but we are here. We are here, members of the Theosophical Society, maybe not, but we are here because of a reason.
Yes.
We feel maybe an urge.
Perfect. An urge for what?
Well, to
improve.
Well, when one has suffered a lot himself or herself, then and the solution came, then you wish to share it with everyone.
Yes, and if they don't relate to that sharing?
Well, maybe not.
They're not ready, and that's it. No, what I'm saying, I'm with you. Everybody who has an experience is right about this. There is no wrong about this. And to preach to theosophies, well, we all have this book. But outside, you know, to become in the secret path and come back to the road, it is very difficult. It's a path of woe, because they don't relate to any of this. They only have a mess. And it's very difficult mess. We don't have that big mess. We have a mess, but not that big mess. Yes. Yeah. I think we're saying the same thing in different perspectives. Yeah. Yes.
That's what I, through falling and stumbling, recognized, and that was very difficult because I'm a person who likes to help.
Right.
And I was asking in myself, what can help me to not go over the border or something like that.
I see. Okay.
And I studied different religions, books, just like theosophy. What helped me was that from the different perspectives and different messages, there was always saying, for example, Krishnamurti does it too, you have to ask. So what helps me is to look when there is something, if there is coming a question. And what I'm discovering now, I'm exercising, training for me, there can be a hidden asking.
I see.
So there can be asking from person to person, but under that can be from the soul an asking. I am figuring out how do I listen, that's asking myself, how do I listen, that there is a question underneath, and how can do I have to apply to it or just leave it? I have not figured it out, but that's a very difficult thing.
Well, practice that, right? It says practice.
That's
practice, that's it. Right? We're here in this path practicing this, right? And it's difficult, it's very, very difficult. There is no one line that can solve all the world problems, because we will have used it already. And it's true, the base of all that is ignorance. But what do we do with that? We know that. They are ignorant, I'm ignorant. But what do we do with that? Specifically, there are demons in everybody, very different from each other. They are acting on them, and they are always changing within, always changing, right? And when you attack one side, they shift sides, and so it's so interesting. Any more thoughts? Yes, please, Susan.
Sorry.
Oh, Johanna. Joke.
Martin, we talk about the demons now very
the crafty powers. Yeah.
Yes, but we have the virtues.
Yes.
And can I give an example how the virtue of Dana works?
Okay, please.
We have very dedicated members, and at a certain point they have the idea, perhaps I can give a lecture. And what is what happens most when you try to give a lecture, you freeze. That is the fear of standing before an audience.
Yes.
And I always say, do not give a lecture. Talk to people. And talking to people, you talk with Dana, with that sense of oneness. And all those demons come to you in the form of your friends. Be Dana to your friends, and then the demon disappears immediately. I don't know whether others have that same for, you say, avidya. Ignorance is the other side of Dana, but I always have the feeling it is Adavada, the idea, the heresy of separateness. As long as I see my friends as something separate from myself, then the demon comes. And the moment I see it as one of me, that we are one, then it disappears. I don't know if this is my own experience or...
In my opinion, it's your own experience. Because I also have friends that are, and they say that, they are in theater, they are actors and actresses, and every time they go out to act, they are trembling. And their teacher, the guy, they say, he's a friend of you. And then they act, they come back, and they still tremble. So they haven't really superated. They have masked the moment. In my opinion, this is opinions, right? In my opinion, they haven't worked out the real issue. What happened in their past that they cannot talk to people? What wounded them? Why their soul is bleeding? They can mask it for many, many years and so on, but they're still wounded and they still say it. Incredible that John Lennon said, I cannot play in front of people. Told Elton John said, I can't. Don't ask me to go to New York and play in front of people. I'm John Lennon. Spent all his childhood, playing in front of everybody. So we can mask it and we can appear to be, and maybe not. Maybe. So I have a lot of knowing of examples that even when we become friends with it and able to function with it, we still haven't superated that. Yes, please. So we're talking about transcending and finding the real root cause, fixing forever in a great battle, and then you get the virtue.
What you just now said, Martin, gave me the idea that and what I have experienced myself is when you change the perspective, that is a really important thing. As long as you are on the personal side, looking at your own deficiencies, your own failures, you will always tremble. Yes. You will always be there and paralyzed by your demons. But the moment you change your perspective and you look at the message you are giving, at the impersonality, you just forget yourself, then the demons disappear. Yeah, so that is the best way.
Can they come back?
They can come back, of course, but they come back only when you get self-concentrated again. So the moment you forget yourself and do it as much as you can, you will not have so many problems with your demons.
So what if we could actually work on the root cause of that demon and on the crafty power, on that incarnated in you, and really work it out forever, that has no way to come back.
I
Is that possible?
don't think that is, you
Okay.
can get it out forever.
Okay.
You cannot. The moment you go back to your lower self, there it is again.
Correct. So,
Yeah.
so the lower self
Yes.
opens up and
Yes.
yes. And
Yes,
that's it.
that is the
I'm
point.
with
So
you.
I think the only possibility we have is not concentrating on our demons, but concentrating on self.
On the higher self.
On the higher self.
On the higher
Yes.
self. Okay. Thank you. That's why the means are many, right? Everybody has a different way. Please do not apply one way to everybody, because what works for you may not work for them. That's what the voice says. Yes.
It kind of sounds like there are two approaches here. That the one approach is look into yourself and search for some kind of the source of the problem, that you really look into your personality. But the other option is that you really shift your perspective to a higher level and view it from there. And because everything flows from the same source, well, that's my personal view. I think the true problem solver is in the second.
Okay. And my only comment is I didn't mean to create a duality here, because it's not either or. The voice doesn't say that. The voice says the means to do this varies with the individual, with the person. And how many individuals we have? Several billions. So there are several billion ways to deal with this. Everybody has to find their own way, according to the voice. We cannot say everybody is going to do this and it will be solved, because some people may be running out of time, right? Before suicide. You know how many millions of people die every year? Because, and everybody is telling them be good, be wise, super 8, abandon that. Oh, you have another. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, just my experience. Demons will never go away.
Oh, wow.
Will never leave you alone. And I'll put it, they are very cunning beings, very astute, and they are always one step ahead of you. And I can put it in a very easy way.
That's a horrible image.
I know, I'm horrible. Just an example. Imagine you have the challenge to give a conference, and finally overcome all your anxieties, and you give it. Then the demon will come to you and say, "Congratulations, Daniel. You managed. You should feel proud of yourself.
Right.
You are such a generous man. You should feel full of yourself.
We
go
got
to the next step, the next level step, and so on, and so forth, and so forth."
Yeah. And that's very true when we feed the demons. We let them feed on us. But yes.
So when I'm listening to you, I get the impression you are stressing the importance of going to your traumas and go through them.
Okay.
And when I listen to others here, I hear more a mindful perspective.
I see.
Watching your demons, not identifying with them, embracing them, accepting them, feeling them. Could it be a combination of the two?
Okay. So this is what's important. The means, the ways vary with individual. There is no one that fixes all. If I say the only way is the Freudian way, what am I doing? The only way is this way, Jung way. The only way is whatever. There is no only way. It varies with individual, right?
Because there's also a danger that as theosophists, we escape from our demons. We're not looking...
Well, I don't think that was the intention here, to escape from the demons. I think the intention is, how do we deal with that? Once we recognize a demon, do we deal from the higher self, or we go to the lower self? I think that was the intention, isn't that true? How do we deal? He recognizes that they will not go away. At one point they do go away in the path of the Bodhisattva. We have to agree that at one moment we are able to conquer. And there are many battles and but there is one way, in one moment it's conquered. And it's a beautiful moment, right? Not for the people on the road, the way I depicted it, but for the people in this already path, right? So whether we see it from above or below or on the side, it all varies with the person, and they're all good as long as it works, right?
So actually what you're concluding is that every individual has to sense what he or she has to do at that present moment.
And I feel this is what the voice is telling us. Now, my own personal feeling is that people gather according to their state of consciousness, where they are on the path, and that causes a magnetical attraction to that path. And in that path they have commonalities. And in that commonality, one of them, it could be that theosophy gives them good answers. Christianity gives them good answers. Tibetan Buddhism gives them good answers. Plato helps them, and so on. And so they gather around a philosophy, but it's always personal. In my opinion, that's my opinion now.
Thank you.
Right? Because it varies with the person. But yet, right, we can gather them in sets, and we say, this set of teachings are really resonant with me. Right? I can relate to that. Something like that. This is a mystery, right? That we all have to solve it. But you will feel that, in my opinion, that you will be attracted to certain things. When I studied Blavatsky and she gave examples of all world mythologies, I said, Japan, no. China, this Assyrians, no. Egyptian, oh yeah, good. So naturally, because of their forms, the shapes, the words they use, I'm attracted to certain things. Because maybe previous life, whatever, right? But and I gather with people who love that. And then we form a society for the love of Egypt. you know what I mean? And that's kind of my own personal. We all built our own philosophy. But I think that people gather around a philosophy and a tradition because they feel that it's answering some of these needs, some of the needs. And that's the open path. Now the secret path is when you do it consciously, to renounce to the fruit, to nirvana, and to help others. Right? That's now a conscious movement. And we're hoping that we can carry all that all the way till renunciation. Okay, let's move on. Yes? Now this is great discussion. I mean, I wish we can really go to the point that we solve all our demons and problems and passions incarnate. But that's our work for life. And please let's help each other. So we are on 239, right? And this is what we see. The more you advance when you are in fear and trembling, the more thy feet pitfalls will meet. Remember, the voice says, first learn the pitfalls. See them. You don't see the pitfalls, you're going to fall where? In the pit. Right? Pitfalls, you're going to fall in the pit. It's so clear. The word itself tells us what's going to happen. Right? Okay, then there is a beautiful analogy and sunbeams and the shades and terror, right? It's going to root thy feet in terror on the spot. And if you ever find rooted on a spot, you see that? In terror, you know you are in this stage, on the third paramita. If you ever feel you're terrified and you can't move, you're shaking, you're trembling, and please here, go back and meditate on this. Beware, disciple, of that lethal shade, right? And now comes the the teaching, how to deal with that. No light that shines from spirit can dispel the darkness of the nether soul, unless, and here's the teaching. You see that? What we have said, I think Johanna said that, the light of the spirit can dispel everything. It's extremely, this is Theosophy 101. We got to know that and trust that, right? No doubt on that. But there is a B-U-T, and it says, unless all selfish thought has fled therefrom, and that the pilgrim, that's us, right, on the road, on the path, have, one, renounced the passing frame. That's very vipassana. You see it coming, you see it leaving. Something like that. That's the song you did there. Passing frame. I think that's a good vocabulary. Second, destroy the causes the shadow cast can, as effects no longer be. So I think it's saying both things. You have to renounce to the passing frame, and you have destroy the cause or the causes. The cause, right? That shadow came into being. So here is the situation. Please meditate on this. You will find your own answer. What do you do with your own answer? You share it with your friends in Theosophy or people you can trust, and see if they see it the way you see it. This is the most beautiful thing. Platonic friendship. Correct? Platonic friendship. You can share your deepest thought, and what's deepest than this? So the spirit can dispel that if. And please take these lines at heart. They're very important. For now, the last great fight, the final war between the higher and the lower self has taken shape. Behold the battlefield. Okay. This is impressive. Why? There is a battlefield. I mean, this is us. It's a crossroad every time. But 241. Good Lord, that there is a 241. And why 241 is so important? 2 plus 4 plus 1 is 7. This is good. 241 equals 7, right? But once you have passed the gate of Shanti, patience, extremely difficult, step the third paramita, right, is taken. The body is thy slave. Wow, I fought the war and I came out victorious, right? The body does whatever I want. It doesn't tremble anymore. It doesn't shake anymore. It doesn't have those demons invisible to me, one step ahead. Unless they do it, I'm not aware. Because they're very cool. The body is a... Do you need a break? Yes. Thank you. You found the golden key. You did it in that case. Once you find that, you did. Once thou has passed the, 241, but once thou has passed the gate of Shanti, step the third is taken, thy body is thy slave. Now prepare for the fourth. It seems that once you find the key, you're done. You really can apply it in all those cases. You got the key of that Shanti, or Dana, or Shila, right? You became wiser about that. Still more challenging. There are more gates. But it seems that you acquire something golden, a golden key, a treasure for life, right? But don't forget that. So now go to the fourth, and here starts Viraga, right? And remember Viraga on page 74, it says, indifference to pleasure and pain, illusion conquered, truth alone perceived. That's where we are now. Thy body is thy slave. So, how do you use your body? To bring you things. Give me coffee. It's your slave, right? No. It's for the betterment of humanity and yourself. Not to satisfy those demons. Right? Because it's a demon that is talking to you. So make sure that you always keep an eye of what's happening. Okay? Remember, it's that slave doesn't bring information from the lower to the higher. Now, for the fourth, prepare. The portal of temptations, which do snare the inner man. Wow, this never stops till it stops, right? It never stops. Here we are in the fourth. Then, before you can get near the goal, what is the goal? Find the key, open the portal, move to the next one, right? It's a series of stages, ladders, stages, steps, states of mind, right, etc. We can see it like that linearly. At least it's the first image it gives us, right? When you belong to that school of Ayasanga, it might be different, but for now, linear, okay? So before we take that fourth, before you can get near the goal, before your hands is lifted to upraise the fourth gate latch, before you are going to move the latch of the fourth gate with a key, you have to do certain things. Here's the list of things. Remember this. You have to master. That's not a master. You know, this is to. Master means what? Master. You have achieved. Proficiency. You must have proficiency of all mental changes in yourself. Wow, all mental changes. All the vrittis that are in the Yoga Sutras, all the modifications of your mind. You are in control of them. You have to see them all. Easy, huh? Easy. Easy. That's all, right? And if someone says, look, I have a problem with indifference, well, you haven't mastered your modifications of your mind. That will solve it, right? Okay, so second, slaying the army of the thought sensations. Slaying the army of thought sensation. What is a thought sensation? A monkey mind. I'm very good at it. One who imitates everything. Right? You hear this is good, then you go after that. You hear this is bad, you avoid that. You know, a monkey mind, always imitating. Right? Thought sensation that, subtle and insidious, creep and ask within the soul's bright shine. It creeps like a snake. You know, gets there. The monkey mind. I like that monkey mind. Very cool. If thou would not be slain by them, then must thou harmless make their own creations, the children of thy thoughts, unseen and palpable, that swarm around humankind, the progeny of and heirs to man and his terrestrial spoils. Wow, this is really heavy, huh? All our thoughts are going to create imagery, right? And we have to be very careful with thought creations, thought forms, right? They are our children. And they're all around us, right? All our thought forms. Thou hast to study the voidness. So, what is the antidote? Very simple. Study the voidness of the seeming full and the fullness of the seeming void. So simple. Right? That's why you tell yourself, I have this problem with my thought, I'm creating all these thought things, thought forms, etc. Okay, study the voidness of seeming full and the fullness of the seeming void. Which means what? What is voidness, lack of inherent reality, voidness, something that it doesn't exist, voidness of the seeming full. It seems it's full of what? Of reality. There's nothing there. It's a shade. It's a creation. It's nothing. If you go to the ultimate cause of that, is what in Buddhists nowadays, they love these words, dependent, like the Nidanas, right? It's a creation that starts from the beginning of the Manvantara, and everything depends on that first burst of light. You see that? But in reality, it's nothingness. Right? That dependent modification and concatenation of the effects that we call nidanas. All of them goes to the very first moment of the one. And they lack reality because the only real thing is the one. Everything after that, Maya. Maya. Right? Maya. Call your demons Maya. 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 Maya Kosha. So you got to understand that they lack reality. And that's what it means to study. That means to apply dharana dhyana and understand the fullness of the vision that you're seeing in your own thoughts. They lack reality. They're just thought patterns coming to life. And when they become very elemental, it's just a problem. They stick to you like a mosquito trying to feed you. Do you love mosquitoes? Oh my God, this is a good picture. I wish I could have video. Do you like them? Well, these are these, right? They lack reality, and yet, thank you. This is what our loving kindness disappeared. Isn't it true? And then you don't see your demon. Yeah, it's a mosquito. Yeah, I had one the other day. Okay, so let's go back to this. This seems difficult, but not if you understand that the root of everything in nature is real, the root, the one. And everything is dependent from that in a dual, because of that, of the duality process of manifestation, modification, changes constantly. They lack reality. At the point that when we are human beings, and sorry I cannot explain this better philosophically, but we are here in such a complex universe, it lacks reality. Yet we are on a path that is very real to us. It's incredible, where there is so much suffering. Why? We took unreal things for real things. Isn't that true? If we can go to our higher self, they all disappear because Atma participates on the nature of reality. It's a ray of reality. Yeah, but we're not there. Why? The voice tells us, Alaya, where is Alaya? Why you don't make use of your light? Alaya. Being in you, you make very little use of it. Right? It's like it's very expensive. No, it's free. Free. Okay, so did you get that? That's extremely important. Because the next line already gives us the adjective, the qualification. O fearless aspirant. We gain the title, fearless, at that moment. Why? Trembling and fear was conquered. You see that? Remember, like in the Bhagavad Gita, every title of Arjuna and Krishna is a stage of consciousness that has been achieved. Remember, you're reading the great battle teachings. It's the same thing. Here, fearless aspirant. Look deep within the well of thine own heart and answer. Great important question. Knowest thou the self, the power? Do you know the power of yourself? the ones we've been studying, the Deva seeing, the Deva knowing, the Deva understanding. Do you remember the truth? Have you able to see that truth? Do you have the dhyana power of being one with the object of your concentration? These are incredible higher cities or powers, right? O thou perceiver of external shadows. You now can see all the shadows and name them. And they are all under control. You see the point? This is an incredible point. We fought them, right, in the previous gate. Sorry about the English. If thou dost not answer positive those questions, you're lost in this gate. You are lost. It's not like, okay, more or less, you're walking around, you're knocking at the door, they love you. No, you're lost. You're totally lost. You cannot move on. Very interesting. Because 245, on path 4, what's the path 4? This is the 4th paramita. On the path to get to the 4th paramita, and that's a good way to do. By the way, I do recommend you get 7 pieces of paper, right? Each of them is a portal. You do this, and you depict your life with the 7 virtues, with the 7 ways, what happened in you when you try to apply, or how do you phrase your thought forms and all that. And that is the road, the path that you are on. This is as much you have conquered yourself. 4, on the path 4, the lightest breeze of passion and desire. The lightest. Passion and desires. The little ones, even the little ones. What's going to happen to you? Wow. The smallest wave of longing, of regret, of Maya's gift. Every little breeze of passion and desire. Anything that you say, I remember that illusion that I love so much. I'm not going to tell you it's chocolate, but this is conquered, right? Any regrets in your life? I should have done that, I should have eaten that when I could, or have done any of that along Antakarana. Now comes the esoteric part, right? The path that lies between thy spirit and thyself, lowercase, the highway of sensation, it is explained in Antakarana, right? The root arouser of ahankara, the sense of me, Martin, myself. A thought as fleeting as the lightning flash will make thee thy 3 prices forfeit. You understand that? Forfeit. Thank you. Forfeit. It means that if any of these shows up in your life, you conquer 3 gates. They're done. Antakarana is built. You lost the fight that you already thought you won. You have to start over, which we knew. One single vice left here, all the ranks will fall. You remember that, and you go back to it, and so on. This is really deeply gold. Yeah, Susan, you have something. Yeah.
It seems as if, the discussions that we were having about talking about things, the things that we're struggling with, and the links that they have to our experiences in the past, in addition to the very well delineated yogic path, discussing the modifications of the mind and the yoga path, it seems that there's this idea of trying to free oneself from being a prisoner of memory, of living in the past, past false habits, whatever, and clinging to those. We develop, a more sensitive nature, more patient, more charitable. But it seems like if we start again to dwell on, if we cling again to these, memories and, past experiences, then we're thrown back again. We lose this open quality of mind. I don't know how to say it.
No, but
seems to me
you're in
that
the right
there's
direction.
an issue there.
You got to complete the line. And when I do that, I rebuild the bridge, illusionary bridge, between the lower self that should be my slave, right? It should be under control, educated, trained, and I start all over, because in that bridge all those crafty powers are going to show up again, right? So we have to be careful. So that is the point here. Because what happened, know that the eternal, 246, knows no change. If you achieve a virtue, the virtue cannot change. This is truth. This is the light. In Plato's Republic, he wrote, God cannot change, theos. If his perfection cannot change. Well, Christians didn't like that, because they thought that the God is triple and he can change, right? The Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost. So they were against Plato in that respect. You see that? The one and the three. So two different philosophies. So the eternal knows no change. In 247, then the 8 dire miseries forsake forevermore. If not to wisdom sure, thou cannot come, nor yet for liberation, said the great Lord, the Tathagata, the Buddha of perfection. He who has followed in the steps of predecessors. So what happened? The 8 monsters, the miseries, and we know there are 12 of them, the Nidanas, right? Remember the Nidanas? This is even in the Secret Doctrine, stanza 1, right? When we are in Pralaya, we are the path of the bliss, right? Where are the Nidanas, right? That's a good thing. And here, of the 12, they enumerated 8. And usually people do that. I researched that. They remove birth and death, and they remove a couple more. They keep 8 that are very human. Because we all are born, we all die. And so they reduce it to 8. So these miseries will show up. In Viraga, in 248 says, is a stern and exacting, which means don't compromise with it. If you compromise with Viraga, it's a demon, it's a cruel, crafty power that you haven't conquered, and that will send you back. You have to do it. It's the law, and there is no talking about it. It is. Then in 248 is that, and 249 is about alaya, to make sure that you get the light of your inner life, right? Otherwise, that thing happens, right? In 250 it says, all is impermanent in men except the pure, bright essence of alaya. That's the teaching. Okay? Look for explanations, look for examples, look for the teaching, the pearl. The pearl is within you, you have the source of light. You got it? And that you need to trust. And once you find it, don't change it. The light is that light. And how do you change it? When your own thought is asking you about your past, the longing for Maya, all the things that it says here. A little breeze of passion and desire, a little wave of longing and regret. Those are demons, those are crafty powers, passions incarnate that still are rooted, and you didn't do a good job in 3. We are in 4. You have to go back, right? And so find Alaya, trust Alaya. This is very different, very difficult moment when you have to look for what it says in 216 in the middle, 250 in the middle. It says that being from Alaya is thy life guide and thy true self. This is your inner voice that's going to guide you in the darkness of the road, in the darkness of your thoughts when you are lost. Trust that being, trust that light. Why? He keeps explaining. The watcher, the silent thinker, the victim of our lower self. The soul cannot be hurt, but through thy erring body, control and master both, and thou art safe when crossing to the nearest gate of balance. And we are very close to the fourth gate. And always cheers you. Be of good cheer, disciple. If you die, of course, there are 7 more lives. He told us earlier, right? Okay. So it's tough. The 251 is very interesting because it's part of these thought forms and elementals and so on that they really make a temptation. Remember, they call it the path of temptation. This is why every thought outside the path will become a leech stuck in yourself, and it's going to suck your prana, your blood, and your light. And the guy depicted this well, right? To the point that exhausted, you're going to say, what happened to me? Well, you were fooled by thinking that you did it and you did not. Right. Now he says, hold firm. You are nearest to the middle portal. This is the 4th. We still haven't got to the 4th, right? You're near to the 4th. Can we get to the 4th? Well, the questions are, have you mastered your thoughts? Remember, this is about our thoughts. Have you mastered your thoughts? Yes. Right? Right? Have you mastered your soul? Yes. So we have to be truthful with us. Can you find that pure light? The light that is free from affections? If the answer is yes, you got the golden key. Isn't that beautiful? If you find the light, Alaya, the beam, you found the golden key. This is very good. Did you find the light? You have the flashlight in the dark. What's the dark? The path, the road, right? The way to the gate. And that will illuminate. There are more instructions. Remember, these are the dots. Just before 256, she chose not to write more about that. And it says, the dreary task is done. You did it. You found the golden key. Thy labor well nigh over. The white abyss that gate to swallow thee is almost found. 4th gate. Now you have crossed the moat and circles round the gate of the human passion. It's like Narden, full of these circles of water, right? And now you cross them, you are in Narden, right? And you cross that, and you did it, right? Thou hast now conquered Mara and the furious host. Isn't that incredible? Yes.
Yeah, I have difficulties with the word silent thinker. Yeah, can you explain?
Okay.
That's in 250.
Yeah. I'm just trying to locate the 250. Okay. So let's read it again, right? Thank you. That being, which being from Alaya, right? It says here, correct? A beam of light immaculate within. Yes? The beam of light immaculate within. That beam is thy life guide and thy true self. Correct?
Yes.
Common means, let's give it a name. It's the watcher and the silent thinker.
Yeah, the word silent.
Yes.
Why?
Silence is very important. Are you asking me to be silent? I hope not. Yeah, and I agree with you. Why? Because if he talks too much, it's a incarnate, passions incarnate. Right?
Yeah, but thinking is a movement.
Thinking is movement. Yes.
So how can it be silent?
I got it.
That's the question.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes. And that's the same question you asked the day before about dharana. Exactly the same.
The thinking is movement, so how can it be
Yes.
silent?
So the problem is how to understand dharana, because we need to be human beings, and the voice of the silence tells us it starts with dharana, the nature of dharana, right? What is thinking that it will turn into contemplation? It cannot be thinking in the terms of I don't know, how do you say that? Movement. It has to be thinking in the sense of I'm trying to behold, I behold, I'm one with it. No movement. So thinking here is not at the mercy of the lower self that wants explanation and what's in it for me. That is thinking with the lower mind. We agree?
Yeah.
There is a God. Okay. So this is the moment that a human turns into a real human, and the path is, or you're walking on the path, or you see the path. We are in dharana. We got to know the nature of dharana. Concentrate. This is so difficult. Why we cannot concentrate? Well, I already told you that in day one. Because we can't. We distracted. Right? Distraction. Frames coming in and out. Clouds, monkey mind, all that. Right? They have to be our friends. We got to know ourselves. We all have a different one. Yeah? It's different from us. But the key of all this is no karana. The problem is when you really practice karana, the lower cities show up. Bummer. And they are even more difficult distractions to stop. This is a real problem. And this is why the warnings, the teachings, the wisdom, the light are there for us. This is it. First two instructions. So what is the third instruction? Learn about your mind. Correct? And when we finish learning, here is where we are. We find Alaya, we find the source of light. We trust the light. It's our true self. It's the watcher and the silent thinker. I hope it got better, okay? Okay. So we cross those circles around Narden, around the gate of human passions, right? Mara is conquered. We have removed pollution 258. We have removed pollution from our heart, right? That's called chelation, to remove all the plaque. Right? That causes cardiac arrest. So, remove all the pollution. We bleeded from impure desires, right? We are a glorious combatant. Why? We just earned the Great War. We're victorious from the Great War, right? And now it gives us a vision of a holy island, holy isle. You see that in 258? That vision of the isle, of that holy isle, right? We're going to do tonight. We're going to look at what it means to go there. So I wanted more like a meditation on that, on this vision. It's a good thing, it's a beautiful thing. The problem is, in 259, that a sense of pride makes this a mess. This is the waves. mind is already working. Pride, a sense of pride. Pride is one of the poisons. Pride. Are you proud of that? We can't. But are you proud of your own work and where you are? What if yes, I'm proud. Are you proud where you got, after all this? No. So we're human. But you can see that the pride will become a monkey mind, right? So, yes.
Well, that was going back to what Rohit Mehta had commented upon in the creative silence. This idea that pride, spiritual pride, is really on the path, the sort of the last true obstacle.
Yes.
Because look at this passage is quite long. It seems repetitive, but it's talking about the accomplishment from just about every angle. And one is left with the idea of, it's almost inevitable, like, I've arrived. It's been accomplished. It's done. Thank goodness. How wonderful. Wow, what a great job I did. It's so subtle, and it's like the last barrier is spiritual pride.
And again, I'm proud of many things I accomplished. I'm just a human being, right? Yet in stage 4, that is a barrier.
And it's the one thing that's going to really hold you back, unless it's realized.
Yes, it's true. It's true. It's true. So we need to work on that. And the vision for working on that is you need to now have in mind, because you are in the pivotal moment, right? 3 conquer, you are on the 4th, the last 3 highly spiritual gates are going to show up. You are in that turning point. And in that turning point, you need to start seeing prajna, jnana. You need to see true wisdom. That's going to be your north. In the 4th paramita, to climb it. Right? Jnana, prajna, is the light at the end of the tunnel, of the stairs. Prajna is now your and that is in 261. Dhyana, jnana, prajna. And this is really tropical. The soul has to become like a ripe mango. This is really tropical, don't you like that? Right? Like a ripe mango fruit. Do you like mango fruit? Please do, yeah, because it's in the voice of the silence, right? You don't like mango, you have a lot to work. Okay. Why? Soft and sweet. This is also beautiful, huh? I love mangoes. Okay, so this is an image. Yet hard in the center. Hard. The seed is hard, but it's soft and sweet. So this is a duality that is within. So in 262, it says, make hard thy soul against the snares of self. Deserve for it the name of diamond soul, the diamond. And then there is a vision of the diamond, buried, and so on, so on, so on. In 264, when thou hast reached that state, the portals that thou hast conquered on the path fling open wider gates to let you pass. Nature's strongest might possess no power to stay that course. On these 4, that all these 4 gates are open to you. You conquer them. Till then, a task far harder still awaits for you. Be cheerful. So this is so difficult to get to the fourth. And he's telling us, now we really have to climb the last three. And it's very difficult. Why? Thou hast to fill thyself all thoughts. At this point, you practice bodhisattva. And there is a noise, there is a sound associated, a call from above. Right? A wake-up call. Are you ready? Yes, we are ready.
More nearby.
I think more nearby. Okay. So how can you get all thoughts within you when you can barely manage yours and few around you? How can you handle all the pain and suffering of everybody when you can hardly manage you and recognize few in others? Don't you avoid people with pain and suffering? Well, that's bad. Don't avoid them. This is what we want to go for. But if you try to tackle them all, don't you? We humans, we can't. But at this point, it's not choice. All, and it's capital in case you don't read lowercase. Right? If you need glasses. She put it in all capital. All thought. Yet, exile all thought from thy soul. So you cannot take them so hard that will crush you. See that? It's interesting. It's a koan. It's like, how can I take all that and not get affected? This is a bodhisattva. Why? You look at it from above. You look at it from not the lower self. You conquer it. This is extremely difficult, but when you conquer it, then it may happen. It may happen. Wow. It's very impressive. Okay, so again, I'm running out of time. This is extremely beautiful. You know, we can take, again, one paramita and spend all our life. Isn't that true? I'm really trying to cover now in detail all of them. And it's impossible. So, yet I hope that as I was reading and going deeper in them in this sense, trying to really see in reality what they mean and the difficulty. You can do it on your own. These are beautiful workshops, right? To do it among yourself and alone and with others, etc., etc. I would like to just go a little quick to the next one. There is so many bewares in 269, 270, 271. You see that? Beware of this, beware of that, beware of change. Why? The light doesn't change. So beware of changes. This is a monkey mind. And so on. And on 274, remember we want now the Prajna Paramita to be our north. And on 274, it reminds us why. Remember thou that fightest for men's liberation. Right? This is the goal. We want to help humanity. We're fighting for men's liberation. These people are on the road suffering. And we want to alleviate that suffering and to show them that they can free themselves if they work on the higher self and understand the illusion. But each failure is success, and each sincere attempt wins its reward in time. This is karma. This is the beautiful reward, so to speak, that is in this. The holy germs that sprouts and grows unseen in the disciple soul, their stock walks strong at each new trial. Remember, these stalks walk strong because we're going to see them in the Egyptian Book of the Dead. It's so beautiful there too, but visually. They bend like reeds but never break. But when the hour has struck, they blossom forth. In 275, but if thou can prepare, then have no fear. Into the fifth paramita with Virja, right? This is in 276, this is the fifth of the seven, right? In case you forgot. The next one is Dhyana, right? Which is the body portal where you get all the wisdom, you're one with it. Then there is a good vision, 277. Dhyana gate is like an alabaster. This is the second image we're going to meditate upon tonight. Beautiful image. It clarifies the idea of Dhyana. Dhyana is the turning point between Bodhisattva and liberation. So this alabaster vase is the one who is going to give us that. Remember, Dhyana is the turning point between the 8 angas of the yoga, right, and the 7 paramitas. They cross on Dhyana. If your eyes is on Samadhi, there is a big chance you want liberation. If your eyes, inner eyes, are on Prajna Paramita, most likely you'll renounce. This is the secret path, right? Don't forget that. Dhyana is one in both. And in the voice of the silent fragment, it ends with Dhyana and Samadhi. Because that's the voice of the silent. It takes us to liberation, right? We want everybody to free from suffering and pain. But the ones who are prepared, those who can help humanity, and not everybody can help the world, they need to know Prajna Paramita, which is also after Dhyana. Isn't that cool? Really, really, that's the secret of the voice of the silence. This is the greatest teaching. Remember, like Sankaracharya said, I'm giving you the Atmabodha so you can find liberation. This is what everybody wants. I'm giving you this teaching so you can be at the feet of God in heaven forever. You know what I mean? All religions, all this esoteric world is the open path. Beautiful and needed. Right? They depict a beautiful path of angelical freedom forever. That is renunciation, liberation and nirvana. That is heaven. That's not what we want. We want to understand Prajna. If compassion is a keynote in our life, we come back. The cross is in Dhyana. Yeah. Very cool, very important. You want to testify more?
Well, and I thought also of Johanna's pointing towards this inner work that we're doing. That we start, it seems like there's this seeming application of charity and these initial virtues. But we're actually going towards the experience of unity. And right here at this pivotal point, we learn something new from the voice of the silence all the time, and it's just struck me incredibly right now. This passage right here at the fourth is so intense and so long. It's taking us down this road to this path of complete revolution, which is an absorption, a sort of absorption into this oneness, a recognizing of it. And that's why we're having this beware, beware, and remember everything you've learned. Just the idea of this, what this means, is almost incomprehensible.
For us, yes.
And it's something that we really have to consider, and it's so valuable to have people, interested in the same
Thank you for
revolution.
being interested in it. It's
To
so
go on this
true.
path with us.
It's so true. It's incredible. 279. It says, therefore, thou hast estranged thyself from the object of the senses. This is a summary. Travel on the path of seeing, on the path of hearing. You standing in the light of knowledge, thou hast reached the state of titiksha, or liberation from pleasures and pains and so on. Right? Now you are safe. You conquer your sin in 281, right? You have crossed the 7th path if you can achieve all that, right? And then Later on, because it goes back and forth, and later on, in 290, it says, "Know, O disciple, thou of the secret path, its pure fresh water must be used to sweeter make the ocean's bitter wave." You see that? At this point, in 290, he's telling us, "I have revealed the secret path to you." This is the end, right, of the voice of the silent. This is the resolution, the teaching that is kept secret for everybody on the road of the open path. Everybody is going, "Yeah, I want to be in heaven with God forever," right? But at this moment, this adept in the path of adeption is going to figure it out, and this is incredible moment. At this point, you know what's the secret path, which means you see prajna paramita. You see the end. You can choose. Am I expressing more or less the idea? This is the moment in the path that you can see prajna paramita. You see where the light comes from, where the beam comes from. You can see the lower and the higher. You can recognize cruel, crafty powers. You have fought many battles. You have practiced helping people. And now you know the secret path. And that must be an incredible moment in us. And here is beautifully described when that happens. And then it reveals to us in 273 what is called the guardian wall, which is very beautiful. Self-doomed to live through future kalpas. Why? Because we chose renunciation. And thank. Nobody's going to hear you thank. Or maybe one. And perceived by men. Nobody even will know you're helping them. Wedged as a stone with countless other stones, which forms the guardian wall. It's in quotation because it's an image, right, of something that is there, but we cannot see. It's not a real physical wall. Such is thy future in the seventh gate thou passest, built by the hands of many masters of compassion, raised by their tortures, by their blood cemented. It shields humanity, mankind, since man is man. It shields humanity since man is man. If they ask you, when man is man, they're ready for anthropogenesis. True? They want to know where they came from. What is man? We have to now cosmogenesis and anthropogenesis. Very beautiful, that moment. Since man is man, protecting us from farther and far greater misery and sorrow. Isn't that incredible? So all our suffering, all our pain, all our unperceivedness, all our unthankfulness are stones in a gate that are going to be protecting. Imagine that. Without that, we will be dead. We cannot take so much. Without protecting wall, there is so much suffering and suicides and problems and trouble. And we need to work harder for that. More stones. Okay? More stones. That is very clear. More stones. So we run out of time, as always. And now comes the three vestures, because this is what's next, right? If you see the prajna paramita, if you see where you're going, you know the secret path, and you have the cities and higher cities, you control the lower cities, they're your slave. Now there are the three robes, the three vestures, and you're ready for the last choice. Now the three vestments, we're going to see them Tuesday morning, the last class, right? And so on. So we're going to see I even have photos of that, from literature. And I love the last line where it says 3:11. I mean, remember it's 3 or 9, you choose. Thou art enlightened, 3:10. Which means what? Prajna Paramita. You got it. No at all. You have seen it all. Prajna Paramita, the last stage. That is in 3:10. Thou art enlightened. You are the most brilliant light of being. You are that light. Alaya is you. You are Alaya. And then the choice. Make that choice. It's at that moment that you're going to choose. And if you do, and you become a bodhisattva, it says here up in 3:14, a pilgrim has returned back from the other shore. Being at the other shore, seeing nirvana, liberation forever, you return back. And to do what? To work on the road in this image. Alleviate pain and suffering and guide them by the hand in the open way for liberation. And that's what they say. For the liberation, what was the word they used? For the bodhisattvas. For the liberation of what? Humans? Something like that down here. You know, the Buddhists, they have a beautiful line that they always repeat. For the liberation of every sentient creature. Anybody knows that? The vow of the
Long
Buddha.
as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, so shall I too remain to relieve the suffering of the lives.
Something like to relieve the suffering and to be there till everybody crosses the path, right? But not everybody can come back to be that. I hope we can, all of us. Thank you so much. There will be more later on. It's 12:10. There's a lot of work, isn't it? This is for lifetime. Lifetime. I hope I try to cover more paramitas. It's so important. This is the workshop of our life. Isn't that true? 7 pages, 7 games. Work them all out. But that's a photo of yourself, not someone else. Yourself. Thank you so much.